Well, hello friends, my name is Matt. I'm the youth and family pastor at Cornerstone Church in Marshfield, and I'm here today with your Cornerstone Connection. So when I woke up this morning, as I often do, I checked out what the verse of the day was on YouVersion, and it's found in the book, or the small letter of 1 John chapter 1, verse 7, which reads, "But if we walk in the light, as He, Jesus, is in the light, we have fellowship with one another, and the blood of Jesus, His Son, purifies us from all sin." A beautiful verse. It really shows us and teaches us that if we walk in the light, if we confess our sin, if we're open and honest that we have sin in our life, it goes on to tell us that God is faithful. He purifies us from all of our sin through the sacrifice and provision of Jesus Christ and His blood shed on the cross and His resurrection 3 days later. So not only is our sin purified, friends, but we have community with one another. 1 John 1:7 says we have fellowship with one another as we walk in the light with God. Now, as I saw that verse, it made me consider probably one of my favorite Bible stories from the time that Jesus was walking here on earth. And it's found in the Gospel of John. This was 1 John. Found in the Gospel of John in chapter 8. And perhaps many of you have heard this text before, but it's the first 11 verses in John chapter 8. And it's there that it's recorded that a woman was caught in the act of adultery by teachers of the law and by Pharisees. And they bring this woman to the temple courts, and they set her in front of Jesus, and they let him know, hey, this woman was caught in the act. She was caught in her sin. What do you want us to do about it? Because according to the law of Moses, they say, we should be stoning this woman right here in front of you. And they're just waiting for Jesus to give approval to putting this woman to death. They're trying to trap Jesus, is what they're trying to do. If you haven't heard this story before, it goes on to this just tremendous interaction. Because when these guys come and they've caught this woman in her sin, Jesus is teaching. And after they tell him, hey, this is what's going on, Jesus, he just draws in the ground. And then he says this to them, after they say, hey, we should really stone this woman because of what she's been caught doing. He says, if any one of you is without sin, let him be the first to throw a stone at her. So Jesus gives permission. He says, go ahead and stone this woman, but you can only do it if you yourself are without sin. And what we find out in the following verses is as he gives permission, he goes back to drawing on the ground. And one by one, as the story goes, all of these people leave the temple courtyard. And no one throws a single stone at this woman. And here's what Jesus says to this woman. He says, woman, where are they? Has no one condemned you? She says, no one, sir. And he says, then neither do I condemn you. Go now and leave your life of sin. Here's what I love about this story. Not by her choice, but this woman's sin was out in the light. It was out for everybody to see. And she could have been stoned that day right in front of Jesus, right in front of everybody. But because of the terms that Jesus put on the people, no one was able to throw a single stone. You see, the only person that could have thrown a stone that day was Jesus himself. Instead, Jesus chose grace. But here's what I want you to hear today, dear friend, because perhaps there's a sin that has been ruling your life. Jesus will always give us his grace. That's why he went to the cross. But what he said at the end is so huge. He said to her and he says to us, go now and leave your life of sin. You see, Jesus came to die and rescue us from our sin. He did not come to die, forgive us of our sin, and leave us there to just repeat those sins. No, he says, go now and leave your life of sin. Walk in the light today, dear friend. I hope that challenges you. I hope it encourages you as it does me. Have a great day, friends, and we'll see you next time on the Cornerstone Connection.